Oh, so number 6, I've already said it. Number 6, rest. And this may come as a surprise to a lot of people, but you can burn out. Yeah, I'm going to say it. You can burn out. It's always a shock to people. You see, when you find yourself snapping at everyone, being disinterested in things, it happened to me at some point in 2020, because 2020 was a lot. I don't know if that was how it was for some people, but it was a lot. And through it all, God kept saying to me, I need you to be a voice encouraging people. So I was on daily. I was on Instagram daily, praying with people, encouraging people, sharing the word, laughing, playing, just being there and letting people know we're still here, and you're doing good if you're still here. But at some point, I felt the pressure was getting a bit too much. I've always been introverted, so I didn't find being on lockdown. In fact, being on lockdown was my lifestyle, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But at some point, I found out that it wasn't just being locked down. It was the fact that when I didn't want to be locked down, I couldn't. The choice was taken from me, and that was what made it hard. So 2020, I found out that there were times that I needed to just literally shut down, because I found out I started snapping at people. So my kids would come to me and say, Mommy, I'd be like, just go. Mommy, can we play with our tabs? Normally, the parents in me would say, no, you had your tab for 2 hours, you watched TV for 2 hours, so no more TV. I was too tired to parent. I was too tired to be a wife. My husband was talking to me, I was just looking at him. And he'll be cracking jokes. I didn't have the energy. I wanted to be all these things, but I didn't have the energy anymore. I didn't want to be in church. I was okay with being virtual, but I was okay watching people. I didn't want to be. So all of that made me realize at some point, the Holy Spirit said, you know what? It's not like you're disinterested in life. It's just that you're burned out. And that shows you that you're human. So when I say rest is important. And I keep saying it, that God rested, not because he needed rest, but because he needed to teach us that rest is important. So in 2020, I learned how to shut down, the art of rest. I learned how to just shut down. I learned that I was human. For a long time, I was very guilty, but I've repented. Remember, I repented early last year, in fact. I repented. When people would say to me, Pastor, you don't rest, I say, I used to brag about it. Rest is overrated. When we get to heaven, we'll rest. I can always hear the Holy Spirit laughing at me. When you get to heaven, you rest. By that time, it's too late. What are you coming to rest in heaven? Do you need rest in heaven? That's where groove will start. So I found out that here is the place we really need to rest. We're in perpetual rest in heaven, but we need to now do the Sabbath, what God did for us by resting. So take time out, take time for yourself. 2020, I did a lot of me days. I've just locked the door. It's me. It's about me today. Me and the Holy Spirit. Sometimes just play worship music. Sometimes just watch TV. Sometimes read a book, Not say spiritual or intellectual book. Just read a novel that's fiction. Something that doesn't make you think too much, Something that's it's not like you're going to do exam, Just something that helps you relax, And burnout is something that easily can be treated. It's not a medical, could be, but it's not that deep. You can just rest and you'll be fine. Look at Elijah. After Prophet Elijah killed the prophets of Baal, called fire from heaven and everything, he got tired. He ran. He was running from Jezebel. And he ran. He outran the king's horses. He ran. He was tired. He sat under a tree. And he was so depressed. And he said, God, you know what? I'm tired. Just kill me. Do you know what God said? God didn't send angels, didn't lay hands on him. God said, eat and sleep. They sent him food, eat, yet sleep, he slept. God said, that's all you need. You need rest. When you feel like this, all you need is rest. Then you feel like, the whole world is on my shoulders. I can't take it anymore. God, just sleep and eat. I thought God would give him something more spiritual, like pray to me 10 hours in tongues, pray fire prayers, or pray something, or confess the word. God said, sleep, eat. They gave him food. They said, sleep. He woke up. They gave him food again. Eat, sleep. They say eat and eat. The journey that is still ahead is a lot. So this is not the time to be tired. Okay, so rest is so key. If God recommends rest when you're burned out, or rest generally even when you're not burned out, then we should take it seriously. And I think 2020 made me realize that nothing will change if you take a few hours to rest. The world will not stop moving, and even if the world stops moving, your rest is not going to make it start moving again. So 2020, I learned to rest. Number seven lesson I learned in 2020. 2020 taught me that I am valuable. And I say that with some I don't know what the word is, but I say that not out of arrogance or pride, but I say that with the utmost humility, because sometimes what we think humility is not what humility really is. A lot of us think that I'm just on this earth. I'm just here, I found out in 2020 how valuable I am, not just to my family, my immediate family, not just to friends, but how valuable I am in the grand scheme of things. So I don't think anybody was created. And when I say 2020 taught me I'm valuable, what I'm trying to do is also make you see that you also are valuable. I think that we take a lot of things for granted. I don't think there's anyone that was born that God didn't give a purpose. Now in 2020, a lot of people sent me messages. Oh, you helped me survive 2020. Just knowing that you were going to be there at 3 p.m. every day kept me going. Just talking, just laughing, just playing. It wasn't even anything serious. It wasn't even how deep the word was. I just kept getting messages and messages. And I felt like it was 2020 trying to teach me, and God, of course, trying to use 2020 to teach me that every single one of us has something to give. So we're valuable. I think that we underestimated how important just being you, being authentic can be. So many of us were focused on the things we could do, where we could go, our relationships with people, our associations, not necessarily relationships, but organizations we're working, external factors basically. And 2020 just taught me that just being you is enough. You are valuable, you're worth it, you are important, and I think that was such a beautiful lesson to learn, knowing that my waking up every day meant something to someone else, such a beauty. Yeah, I learned that I'm valuable. Number 8, and this one I think everyone probably learned this as well, the fact that God has a plan. Yeah. So even though 2020 took us by surprise, I was so sure. I knew my name that God wasn't taken by surprise. He didn't stumble on 2020 and say, oh my God, COVID is happening. What are we going to do? There's a pandemic. Angels, are you moving? Run. No. He has a plan. He always has a plan. He had a plan. And I think I also learned that timing is everything in that plan. So God was orchestrating things to happen at specific times. Everything was more like in retrospect, looking back, then I would say, oh, that's why God did this. Oh, that's why this happened. Oh, wow. But I knew from the beginning of the year to the end of the year that God had a plan. Even from 2019, interestingly, when God started giving me instructions about 2020, that it would be a year of clarity, that it would be a year of light, and light would bring visibility, it would bring speed. God told me a lot of things that would happen in the year. It would be the year of the unveiling. A lot of things happened for me, especially in 2020. And it showed me clearly that God was not taken by surprise, that God had a plan. And he spoke before it happened. Because if it was happening, it would be like a backup plan. But no, God had an intentional plan. So he planned out the year. He knew all that was going to happen. And that was so clear. So even months that I felt, people would not be able to work, God made certain supplies available. I would need, and interesting story. So 2019, I'm not sure if I've shared this before, but 2019, that morning I had just finished exercising, and so I was being a bit lazy about going up the stairs. So I said, you know what, let me just make no loss, let me just sit down on the floor and just turn into prayer time. But the truth was, I was too exhausted to go upstairs. So I just sat down. While I was praying, I heard the Lord say to me, I want to use praying with Pastor M. And it didn't make sense to me, because I felt like, how do you ask me to pray at 3 p.m. every day? People should be at work. It's not even West African time. It's not even a regular time. Like, it's not lunch time. It's not 12 noon. It's not any kind of, not 12, not 6, it just didn't have a unique ring to it. And I was just like, 3 o'clock. In fact, I remember Pastor K even having a conversation with me about it, like 3 p.m. Are people really going to join on at 3 p.m.? I said, I don't know. That's what the Lord said. And he said, well, if that's what God says, then that means God has a plan. And so he said to me, I want to use prayer with Pastor M. The second thing was, I thought, I'm not a father must die, everything must die, change, fire. I'm not that kind of person. I have conversations with God. I receive instruction in prayer. I gist with God in prayer. Sometimes I'm embarrassed by the kind of prayers that me and God have, It's not the usual, not what people expect. So I just thought, prayer is not what I would think when I think Pastor M, But when the lockdown now happened, which was much later in the year, May, June, I believe, when it really hit the peak, it now occurred to me that people are home. People need something. And 2020 was a year we needed to pray more than anything else. And people needed encouragement to pray, because people had questions, people were tired, people were frustrated. And just having someone come on and share with them and be as authentic as I could, because I had the same questions. I had the same worries. I had the same fears. I had the same anxiety. And just being able to share that with other people, making them know you're not alone. It now occurred to me that God had it all planned all along, because he knew this would happen. So he already told me in 2019, like, this is what we're going to do. And just being a part of that plan and watching it unfold was just so amazing. So 2020 taught me, that God has a plan and that timing is everything. So God was doing things at specific times, sending some specific people to me. And it was just 2020 was just such a beautiful year to watch unfold. Okay. Number 9 thing that 2020 taught me: carry your joy with you. I'm telling you, don't expect it from anyone. Don't expect it from anything. In fact, 2020 felt like the year where everything was taken away except the things that really mattered. So if you were someone who loved to work was taken away. If you loved to drive, we were not going anywhere, was taken away. If you loved to party, there were no parties, there were no weddings, everything was just shut down. So if you're a kind of person that likes to hang out with friends, they said don't even be in a cluster of more than 10 people. It was just crazy. If your own satisfaction came from just being in church and the vibe, and that was taken away from us. So God now had to teach me that you need to take your joy with you. You need to find joy in me and carry your joy with you. So if they say, oh, we're not going to have in-person services, are you going to be miserable? Or are you just going to unlock the joy that is inside you and just let it flow, irrespective of everything that was happening? If money was the thing giving you joy, even that was taken from some people. Some people couldn't really earn in 2020. But I learned that your joy is your responsibility. It's your responsibility, not anybody's responsibility. A lot of people were quarreling with their spouses. I don't know. I didn't know this was kind of person was. And I'm like, why is your joy dependent on your husband? Why is your joy dependent on your wife? What if they never change? What if they decide that they are going to misbehave for the rest of their lives? What if they think they decide they're going to be mean to you forever? Why is your joy dependent on your spouse? And that set me free, knowing that my joy was my responsibility, and anywhere that life was going to take me in 2020, my responsibility was to carry my joy with me everywhere that I was going. So 2020, I learned that you need to carry your joy. Don't expect it from anyone else. It's your responsibility, and you have to find it in God. Okay, number 10. We're halfway there. Wow, it's been a mouthful. Okay, so number 10. I learned in 2020 that life is fleeting. Here today, gone tomorrow. A lot of people died. A lot of people died in 2020. And interestingly, 2021 has barely even started, and it seems like more people are dying. So many sad stories. People just dropping dead. The numbers were climbing, especially outside the country. If you live in America, it was crazy. If you live in Europe, literally wiped out whole countries. It was just mad, really. And so I learned life is fleeting. You don't have all the time in the world. So live your fullest. Another thing I think I learned, apart from the fact that life is fleeting, is that life goes on. Sad as it may sound, but people died, people cried, and then people moved on. Sad as it is, that's the truth. I learned that people will move on. They'll put your picture up for a bit, put candles, but then people will move on, because the truth is that life goes on. So life is fleeting. As much as we would like to stop the whole world because someone passed, it just never happens. Life just goes on. So 2020, I learned to just keep moving, okay? Life goes on.